I'd turn on that DJ mic and feel you're ready to go whenever you're ready to go.
Just talking to Mike.
Turn on and then bring it to that little section.
Welcome to the first episode of Wheeler Takes. We're live from the Student Center here. You're listening to WIDR Kalamazoo. We're going to do a short recap of the homecoming weekend here at Western Michigan University, or in this case, Wheeler Michigan University. So last Thursday, October 12th, saw the return of the Bronco hockey team. They returned to the ice to start the 2023-2024 season. America's team collided with the Ferris State Bulldogs here at Lawson Ice Arena, home of the prestigious Lawson Lunatic student section. Lawson Ice Arena was jam-packed with a record-breaking attendance record for the best student section in all of NCAA. Deacon Dylan Wentz scored, Daniel Hilsendager scored, 2 goals were scored by Luke Danger, and 2 goals scored by the newest transfer NHL draft pick from Boston University, Ethan Phillips. You're listening to 89.1 Wider FM. This past Thursday and Friday also saw the return back to University Arena of the women's volleyball team as they took on the team from up north in Mount Pleasant. Notice, we don't really mention their name here on this campus, you know. I personally would like to call them the team from up north, especially since I used to originally go there, but going into the box score, we saw 12 kills from Maggie King, 8 kills from Kiana Selzman, as well as over 41 assists from one of our star players, Logan Case, all in the first game at Thursday. Logan, who's on pace to track and pass Mary Murphy as the all-time leader in career assists in the school history. The Broncos sweep the team from Mount Pleasant and secure their 8th win in a row. They are now 18-20 on the season. And 18-2 on the season, and they dominate the MAC with an 8-0 conference record. Way to go, ladies. Moving up next, we concluded homecoming weekend with WMU football. Coach Taylor and the Broncos were finally returned back home to Waldo Stadium after a hard-fought game against Mississippi State. And listen, a lot of people thought we were going to really just get easily dominated in that game, but you know, I watched on TV. I really liked how our quarterback, Hayden Wolf, performed. He recently just transferred here from an FCS school, and the big man threw for over 300 passing yards. He had 3 touchdown passes. And it's looking like we're almost there figuring out our quarterback situation here for the Western Michigan University football team. But honestly, though, I really like how Trayson Bourget plays, so it's kind of hard to tell who's really going to be our top-tier starting quarterback going forward. But I really like what Coach Taylor's building here for this program. And we're starting off baby steps one at a time, but we're already proved the haters wrong. You know, the ESPN politics. We proved all of them wrong, silenced the doubters who said we weren't even going to win a game in the MAC. But we demolished Ball State here at Waldo Stadium a few weeks ago back in week 4. But in this homecoming game against Miami, Ohio Redhawks, the Redhawks, they were really hot. You know, they were red hot. They were 5-0 on top in the MAC East Division, while we were coming into this contest 5th in the MAC West Division. And we were really initially coming in here as underdogs and one of the highest graded offenses in the MAC, led behind star player, redshirt freshman Jalen Buckley. And Jalen, if you're out there listening, I'll tell you right now, you're a beast, man. I'm really glad you chose Western Michigan. You come in, you fit as a really good piece here in the backfield, especially after Sean Tyler. You know, that guy went to go transfer to Minnesota to be with our beloved P.J. Fleck, who everybody knows P.J. Fleck, man. When that guy was here rolling the boat for the Western Michigan Broncos, he had ESPN Game Day here. He had all of Kalamazoo going wild, and I'll tell you, with somebody in the presence of Lance Taylor, I'm very excited to see what Lance Taylor brings to this program. The Redhawks were 5-1. It's the top seed going into this contest. And I would say, despite losing this game, I'm very pleased and optimistic about the program Coach Taylor's building. It was already amazing enough we got to keep our defensive coordinator, Lou Espinato, whom we had a top-tier defense in the MAC in the 2022 season. So despite even us not even getting a bowl game, can't nobody argue that Western Michigan defense wasn't tough to play against, with Andre Carter leading the way as well as Kanai Lovely as the safety all the way in the backfield of the defense. Both Hayden Wolf and Tracy Bourget look like excellent options for our starting as our quarterback for the team. Bourget had a legendary game, 328 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. However, Coach Taylor decided to give Hayden Wolf an opportunity in this game against Miami, Ohio. And Hayden Wolf, both of them played, facilitated their roles, exchanging roles, starting as the quarterbacks. And honestly, they both look evenly matched. And I wouldn't really know who I can decide to put in, even if I was the offensive coordinator, which, by the way, I'm just a fan. And I'm a fan of what's to come next. And I know the mantra, the catchphrase of eat, we'll bounce back, Broncos. We'll bounce back. We'll beat Ohio next week, and we'll move forward. But what matters to me, as long as we beat the team from up north in Mount Pleasant, that's all that is a concern to me. Beating the team from Mount Pleasant, keeping the victory cannon here in Kalamazoo, and never letting it leave. Don't even allow it to leave the showcase, because this is Broncos country. Let's ride. You're listening to 89.1 Wider FM here in Kalamazoo. News on other colleges. The highly glazed and overhyped Colorado Buffaloes, led by the legendary coach Deion Primetime Sanders, blew a 29-0 lead to the 1-5 Stanford Cardinals. Despite Shadir Sanders having an iconic performance with 5 touchdown passes and 400 yards, he still managed to find a way to throw an interception, and the Buffaloes couldn't manage to keep tallying the score against the Cardinals. You know, after all this, all the publicity, all of the hype, all of the commercials, all of the advertisements, even after all of this, where does Coach Prime and the Buffaloes go from here? Because if you ask me, for those of you that were saying earlier in college football, oh, they look like they could go to the college football playoffs, man. Hey, just big trust what Coach Prime is building. I consider that to be blasphemy. It's blasphemy to think Coach Prime was taking the boys to the college football playoffs, man. Are you really crazy? These guys, listen, I'm going to give them this. I'm going to give them a few years. Colorado's going to look really nice, but what is really going to be left of Colorado, especially in that Pac-12? You know, the Pac-12 is more like the Pac-2. Because all those Pac-12 teams are going on to greater pastures next year. They're going over to go play in the Big Ten. You got Oregon leaving, you got USC leaving, and you got UCLA leaving. So all of these teams are going over. Initially, they're going to be put into the Big Ten West. So they're going to make the Big Ten West division somewhat more competitive. And meanwhile, in the Big Ten East, in terms of college football this year, Michigan looks really dominant, you know, the Michigan Wolverines. And don't ever get it twisted. Don't make it seem like I'm just sitting here going to be gloating about U of M, because truth be told, I'm not a U of M fan. I'm not a Michigan State fan. No, I'm a Broncos fan. And I can say either thing about Michigan State. You know, Michigan State hasn't won since won a natty since the 1960s. So I'll never know if they haven't won since the Super Bowl was created. So I don't know what do they mean about any relevance they have over in that program. As for the U of M, listen, guys, and I know most of y'all are Walmart U of M fans. I'm gonna be strictly honest with you. There is absolutely no way that nobody can argue you're not the best team in the country. You have the best defense in the country. You have the best offensive line. You have very good tight ends. You have really good wide receivers. But that quarterback, listen, he is fairly decent. Don't ever let it get twisted that this guy, J.J. McCarthy, is just like the second coming of Moses or something. Like he's the savior of U of M. Him and Jim Harbaugh, they're Moses and Joshua from the Bible. They're going to lead Michigan to greater pastures. And they have been the last few years, you know. They won back-to-back Big Ten championships, back-to-back division titles. And honestly, I'm not denying the greatness of what Coach Harbaugh is bringing to that program. But I will tell you this. When it comes to those Michigan Wolverines, especially that football team, what can go wrong will go wrong. And I'm not saying I'm preying on the downfall here. No, absolutely not. I'm saying that Michigan Wolverines and their football team, you have a lot of pressure, okay? Let's say this. You have the biggest fan base in all of college football. Can nobody deny that? The largest alumni base, which is why at the Big House, yeah, you'll see students, but you mostly know this grown man. you notice a lot of older fans who are very anxious and excited to see their Michigan team play up on that field in the big house. They always say, "Go Blue," the conquering heroes and the valiant heroes. See, that's a problem that I have with the victors. I have a problem with this whole term of the conquering heroes because I have a friend, I understand people from Ann Arbor. I'm not going to take anything away from y'all. You grew up around Ann Arbor, like my friend Bryce, he has every right to bleed blue because he's from there. But I'm talking like the fans that's from Chicago, Ohio, like Ohio, the state of Ohio, the world famous Ohio State Buckeyes, you're rooting for U of M. And I asked my friend Jared, I'm like, you're from Ohio and you're rooting for U of M. He said, we're the leaders and we're the best. And then he hit Conquering Heroes, which I wanted to approach back to that. But Conquering Heroes, what have y'all conquered in the last 26 years? Hey, the last time y'all even won a national championship, let's say individual. The last time Michigan's Wolverines football team won an individual national championship, the GLI bill was released to World War II veterans, okay? This was 1948, post-World War II. So I get that. That's a whole different era. We're in the AP era now. We're in the new college football era. And there's going to be a new era next year, which I'll get to shortly. 1997, you guys shared that national title, and Tom Brady wasn't even your starting quarterback. You guys eventually end up winning that Rose Bowl in 2000. Listen, I only have a problem with Michigan fans because if you look at let's look at it in the NFL. You see all these other NFL team bases and whatnot. Most of these guys will be like, well, I just can't stand a Cowboys fan. Every year they think it's their year. Well, why don't y'all start saying the same about Michigan Wolverines? Because every year they think they're the best. They're the leaders and they're the best in the world. And the whole, the wagon, the fight song, it all makes me sick. Yes, I'm a proud Michigan hater, as well as a Michigan State hater. And I really think after this season, this is my prediction. They're going to go 13-0. They're going to win the Big Ten championship. They're going to get to the college football playoffs and lose to somebody like Washington or Texas or something. Because if they can lose to a private school like TCU, who's to say what can happen this year? Because what can happen will happen. What can go wrong will go wrong. And I could talk about them boys all day. I don't like Michigan. I don't like Michigan State. Definitely don't like the team up north in Mount Pleasant. The team from Ypsilanti, Eastern Michigan, they're irrelevant. It's all Broncos country over here, and that's all I'm riding on. I'm riding with the Coles, here on 89.1 Wider FM, home of Wheeler Takes. And we can move on from that and their DoorDash and quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. Moving on to the MLB playoffs. Here we are into professional sports. The MLB playoffs are underway in full throttle. The division series saw the Texas Rangers sweeping the Baltimore Orioles. The Houston Astros beat the Minnesota Twins in a back-and-forth best-of-5 series. The Arizona Diamondbacks sweeping the LA Dodgers. And the Philadelphia Phillies knock out the Atlanta Braves in 4 games. The League Championship Series has started, and more to come soon here on Wheeler Takes. I got to level with y'all. If there's 2 sports I always try to get into the most, it's soccer and baseball. Now, baseball, my favorite movie ever is a baseball film, The Sandlot, but I thought it was important to include the MLB playoffs here in this first episode of Wheeler Takes because I don't hate baseball. Like, some people be like, oh, this guy has a Tigers hat. This guy has a Tigers hat. I'm like, that was my dad's hat. He wore that all his life, and obviously I'm from the Detroit area, but I do my best keeping up with baseball in there, but typically around this year, nobody can argue. The MLB playoffs are very fun to watch, especially if it's your favorite teams going back and forth. Moving on to the NFL, to start off Week 6, on Thursday night primetime, the Kansas City Chiefs skid past the Denver Broncos in a fairly low-scoring contest. Kind of a little upset of the matter because Travis Kelce went down in that game, and some people will argue it's the curse of Taylor Swift because, ever since Taylor Swift got on the NFL games, the media has been covering her so hard to the point where, like, as an NFL fan, as a football fan, you're watching the football game on a Thursday or Sunday or Monday, whatever day the Chiefs play, and you're like, man, I'm excited to see Patrick Mahomes and them boys play. And especially me, you know, I'm a huge Sky Moore fan. Shout out to Sky Moore, former wide receiver who played here at Western Michigan, 2021 Quick Lane Bowl champion. I'd be excited to watch guys like that who come from my school play on the Chiefs. And it's so hard for me to concentrate watching the TV if Taylor Swift is being showcased like every 3-5 minutes. And I really believe that if Taylor Swift wasn't shown so much, then really you would argue it's a publicity stunt. I get it, you know, the world of music and NFL. NFL's trying to capitalize on Taylor Swift's era tour this year and whatnot, which I can really care less. I don't really know anything about Taylor Swift. I only know, hey, there's a party in the USA. I don't, hold on, that was the wrong person. That was the wrong artist. Shake It Off. That's the song I only know. Minor error here on Wheeler Takes. But anyways, yeah, I'd rather see the Chiefs play some football here on the field rather than watching Taylor Swift every 5 minutes next to Travis Kelce's mom, Donna Kelce. But the Jacksonville Jaguars also defeated the Indiana Colts 37-20 in the AFC South Divisional matchup. Hey, Jake, this goes out to my friend Justin. How do you feel about them Colts, man? How do you feel, Jonathan? How does it feel that Jonathan Taylor is almost on his way out of Indiana? How does it feel y'all haven't been relevant since Peyton Manning played for the Colts? How does it feel Andrew really didn't have any luck playing for the Colts? So don't take this just as an insult. There's other teams that Wheeler also has a very interesting bone to pick with because honestly, I could talk about any NFL franchise because when it comes to me, I'm always waiting. I'm always waiting on the collapse of other teams because it's like I'm like a shark. There's like sharks in the bottom of the abyss of the ocean. Well, I'm sitting there waiting, the bottom of the abyss. I'm waiting like that shark waiting to rise up from the ocean and bite your favorite team because, you know, people made me run away from the Cowboys. They made me abandon the Cowboys. And all because of that, it is my duty and my intentions to absolutely make sure that my voice and my trolling, all of this stuff be heard here on Wheeler Takes on 89.1 Wider FM. The whole world will have to hear it eventually because I always got plans. Always got plans for you guys. Moving on to the rest of the NFL schedule, the Cleveland Browns upset the superpower known as the San Francisco 49ers on a last-second missed field goal kick from Jake Moody. Listen, 49er fans, I'm going to tell you straight like this. I'm not denying your greatness. I truly believe, and I'm not a 49ers fan. I think the 49ers on both sides of the ball are the most unstoppable team in all of football. There's absolutely no way the San Francisco 49ers won't be anything short of an NFC Championship appearance. The 49ers are unstoppable on both sides of the ball. You know, on defense, you got Trey Greenlaw, you got Nick Bosa, you got Fred Warner. Those guys are like, and Nick Bosa is like the best edge rusher in the league. Can nobody deny that? Because, you know, a few weeks ago, I was back in week 5, I was watching Dallas Cowboys, America's team, taking on the 49ers. And, you know, I had my Michael Parsons jersey on and whatnot. And I'm like, man, this America's team, they always have been, always will be. I'm watching them play. And as I'm watching, I'm like, man, why isn't nobody blocking this guy? Nobody could block Bosa. And what makes it even worse about the 49ers, not only do they have an untouchable defense, but the offense is just as overpowering as the defense. On the offensive side of the ball, you got Trent Williams leading that O-line. You got George Kittle as a tight end. You got Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk, the best wide receiver core in all of the NFL. And then coming out the backfield, you got Christian McCaffrey. CMC, he looks like the best running back this year. Can nobody deny that? This guy in one game, I think he had like 4 touchdowns just off of rushing alone. He can go out in the slot if you need to. He can block. I think he can stretch out to the field to the tight end position. So he's really stretching out the field. And then the quarterback, obviously, the coach Kyle Shanahan calling plays. And the quarterback, Brock Purdy, they called him Mr. Irrelevant at one point. Honestly, they should really stick to that name because he truly is Mr. Irrelevant. Because I got to be honest with you. Just like I did earlier here on my show about J.J. McCarthy, Brock Purdy, I heard he employed for a job at Lowe's. I heard he's going to be working at Lowe's. He's going to be pushing carts soon. He's going to have a Kurt Warner story, though. He's going to come back and win with another team. But this ain't me banking on him. I'm just saying Brock Purdy was carried by that offense. Because there's no way, I'm not going to say, who in their mind in this world is going to say, man, I'm excited to watch Brock Purdy play. No, you're excited to watch Patrick Mahomes play. You're excited to watch Josh Allen play. You're excited to watch Joe Burrow play. You're excited to watch those guys play. And the fact that the 49ers are this good with a mid to low tier quarterback like Brock Purdy, I'm highly impressed. And even though they blew that game to the Cleveland Browns, after they blew that game to the Cleveland Browns, I'm really, really excited to see where the 49ers go from here because nobody had them undefeated. And I always argue with some of my friends, like my friends Tony and my friends Akil. I always tell them, because they're 49ers fans, I always tell them, listen, you guys are the best team in the NFL. Y'all going to go to the Super Bowl and win. Y'all can beat the Chiefs. Y'all definitely going to beat the Eagles in this division. You're probably going to knock out the Cowboys either way. But the only thing stopping the 49ers from reaching and winning the pinnacle of it all is winning the Super Bowl, winning the NFC without getting injured. And injuries, I get it, are a part of the game. And I really think that if the 49ers aren't completely healthy, they're going to have a problem. They're going to have a problem. And I really think the 49ers, they get healthy, they stay healthy, nobody's beating them. So, yeah, that's my pick to win it all. Healthy, the 49ers. The 49ers, the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Lions, and we'll probably throw the Dolphins up there because with Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Ramsey, Jalen Waddle, with all of those stars on that Dolphins team, you can sure bet your money that the Dolphins are going to win the AFC East, especially in a conference with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs on the Bills and Zach Wilson and Breece Hall on the Jets. And then we're not even getting to the Patriots because, I heard Bill Belichick is getting ready to work at Al's Toy Barn from Toy Story because he's getting exposed. Patriot fans, actually, how does it feel that Bill Belichick was never like that? How does it feel for 20 years your franchise was carried by a 6th round, last pick of the draft quarterback and Thomas Brady? Not Tom Brady. I'm going to say his full name. Thomas Brady. How does it feel? How does it feel that Mac Jones is really the name of the burger that he's going to be flipping at McDonald's? So instead of calling the Big Mac burger, they're going to call it the Big Mac Jones burger because he's going to be out of a job very soon. But, hey, don't feel insulted because Zach Wilson is the quarterback over at the Jets. But I'm not going to. He's still like that. Zach Wilson is still like that. But give him a chance with the weapons he got around him in that tough defense led by Sauce Gardner. The Jets look like a formidable ally in the AFC East division. The wave of the one pride Detroit Lions takes over Tampa Bay as they defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, here on 89.1 Wider FM, I will say this. I'm not rooting for them this year. And I'm from the Detroit area. I grew up in Warren, Michigan, over Macomb County. I will argue this. Chris Wheeler will say I am very proud of the Detroit Lions this year. They look spectacular. They look foundational. But it's like my Uncle Lamont said a few weeks ago when we were talking while he was cutting my hair. He said the only reason the Lions look this really good is because they had incompetent and fraudulent management experience. They never had good ownership. I don't even know the names of the owners that my uncle said. And my dad, he was a diehard Lions fan too. But They had incompetent ownership. And now with Brad Holmes as the owner and Dan Campbell's the coach, the Lions have been roaring. Like, Lions fans, we can hear y'all roaring. I definitely can hear y'all roaring. You look like one of the top best offenses in the league. But I will tell you this. Please remain humble. Don't get it twisted, because Detroit really can't have anything good. I hear that thing all the time about, Detroit, man, Rock City is back up on top. Yeah, the Lions are one of the reasons that are bringing back up. Of course, obviously, my jersey as well. Hockey Town, Detroit Red Wings. Let Steve Eisman cook. Let Stevie Y cook. Let Dan Campbell cook. And most importantly, let the Detroit Pistons coach cook. Because I forgot his name. He was over in Phoenix for a while coaching the Suns. But things are looking up for Detroit, and especially the One Pride Lions. They're tied right now in all of NFL for the best record. After week 6, they're 5-1. But all I ask guys is to remain humble, because listen, we're talking about 57 years. We're talking about 57 years of incompetence. We're talking about 57 years of bad luck. We're talking about 57 years of the worst things that can happen. I mean, when it comes to Detroit Lions, anything that can go wrong will go wrong for them. And as you know, there's Newton's law is applying to everything I'm talking about, especially the team I'm going to get into after the Lions here. But anything bad that can happen to the Lions can't happen. The Lions the Lions can be the only team to lose a game to a kicker that had half of a foot. And it was a record breaker for a field goal. Only the Lions were the first team to go 0-16. Only the Lions were to have Joey Harrington run all the way out of bounds, the back of the end zone. Only the Lions can have a lead beginning of the overtime period, and they won the coin toss, and they elected to kick off, and which was a bad mistake because that team took it all the way downfield and won. So I get it. Peyton Manning broke the curse of Bobby Lane, which was the quarterback of the Detroit Lions, or the Portsmouth Spartans, the original name of the Detroit Lions. He broke the curse of Bobby Lane, who said after they traded Bobby Lane, after they won 2 NFL championships in the 1950s, they traded Bobby Lane away, and he told all of the Detroit Lions staff, he said, you guys are not going to win for the next 50 years. And what do you know, 50 years after 1957, I'm talking all of the 60s, 70s, 80s, even in the 90s when they had Barry Sanders, and then all up into 2008. When the curse was supposed to end, they go 0-16. Now, mind you, the Cleveland Browns went 0-16 as well. But the Lions were the first team to do it, obviously. They had to be the first team to do it, which got them Matthew Stafford. And, I feel bad for him because, he took them to quite a few things of success. But the Lions had a few good years in the 2010s. That was a bad call in the wild card, the 2014 wild card when they played the Cowboys, and they really thought the Cowboys had an opportunity of, not winning that game because Ford Field was going to go crazy if they won that playoff game. But, yeah, Cowboys won, and the ref picked up a pass interference flag after Brandon Pettigrew was supposed to get a pass interference flag. And I'm very anxious to see now, from back then, even in the god-awful Matthew Patricia era, the One Pride Lions under Dan Campbell goes next. But the NFL team I really wanted to talk about are the Dallas Cowboys. Now, don't get it twisted. When people say, oh, man, you like the Cowboys? I mean, I don't know more because I'm starting to realize, I'm going to just be a Players fan because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of pressure being a Cowboys fan rather than being a Steelers or a Patriots or 49ers fan, because those are the other top-tier fans and fan bases because they have a lot of NFL championships and Super Bowls, and the Packers as well. But for some reason, whenever the Cowboys lose, when I was rooting for them a few weeks ago, whenever the Cowboys lose, though, for some reason, everybody is like calling your phone. They're blowing your phone up. They're like, oh, look, Dallas lost. But they don't do that with nobody else. The Patriots, Steelers, no other team, but they'll do that with the Cowboys. They will do it with them. And I'm tired of seeing, especially my hero, the guy I look up to a lot, here on 89.1 Wider FM. The guy I look up to a lot, Stephen A. Smith, who's an ESPN analyst. He always got his cigar ready, his cowboy hat, Southern Steve laughing in the video after the Cowboys lose, even if they lose by 1 point. And I'm just like, bro, I'm not even I wasn't the delusional Cowboy fan saying they were going to win the Super Bowl. I just don't like Dak Prescott. Oh, excuse me. I don't like Dak Prescott. I don't like him at all. I hope you hear this too, Dak. We need you really badly to leave Dallas. You're not the example quarterback that the Cowboys, America's team, requires to have. And if it was in my best interest, if I was Jerry Jones, I would really consider letting him go and letting him walk somewhere else, because you're wasting potential like CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons and Tony Pollard. All of these guys, you're wasting their talent, and I really think it'd be best in the interest of the best fans in all of NFL, the Cowboys fans, to let that go. Maybe even give Trey Lance or Cooper Rush another opportunity, because by the way that things look, the Cowboys play the Chargers tonight, who got a really tough defense, and they got a very good offense led by my fantasy quarterback, Justin Herbert, and they got Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler. They got a lot of weapons, so can't never really say. You don't ever know with Dallas, especially when they go to playoffs every year and lose in like first or second round. So waiting to see the results of that Monday Night Football game. That will be here mentioned live on the next episode of Wheeler Takes next week on Mondays at 2 p.m. And to finish off my segment here today of Wheeler Takes, I was going to get involved in a little WWE. I'm a big WWE fan myself, and I really think that